Outdoor Warehouse brings you the For Every Adventure podcast, where seeking adventure is a lifestyle.
Great chat today, and especially if you're thinking like, I need to get a fridge, but you don't know which one, whether it's now for camping or like going overland. I think this was fantastic.
Yes, we had a great conversation with Cobus from National Lunar Refrigeration, a bunch of tips, a bunch of recommendations. There's a lot of info in this episode, so enjoy.
This is the For Every Adventure podcast. Climb in as we learn everything we need to know about the great outdoors.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm Kyle. Hello, Chanel.
Hey, Kyle.
This is For Every Adventure, proudly brought to you by Outdoor Warehouse. You keeping cool? You good?
I'm keeping cool. Yeah. And one thing we've learned from speaking to so many experts, I want to call everybody experts that's on here,
all right,
is that ice is literally baby. Gold.
Gold?
Yeah, it's like gold out there. When you go camping, when you're out in the outdoors, I think that's the thing that everyone's like, you know what, I'll be fine, but as long as I've got like my refrigeration going, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, you need to keep the drinks cool and the meat fresh, right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to sit with like soggy food. No. And so I think it's very important. And today we're going to learn, you know, what exactly is needed, why, and also get a few tips. So I'm pretty sure, you know, people like me, I have no clue. If I had to go and like buy myself something to go camping with now to keep everything cold, I wouldn't know where to start. So I think it's going to be an interesting one.
It is. I remember way back matric weekend, and we had a plot somewhere on a camp terrain, and we knew this was going to be quite a busy place, and a lot of our friends from schools close by is going to be there. So I remember the plot across from where we were camping. They were a bunch of guys, a lot of guys camping, guys and girls. And one of them had a small bakkie, just big enough to fit a normal house fridge. So they decided they're going to take a normal house fridge. I don't know whose dad was a fridge less that weekend, but it happened, and they brought it all the way to the camp terrain.
Like a large one?
Yeah. This big one, like a fridge-freezer combination.
On the back of the bakkie?
On the back of the bakkie, wow. And they put it there, and that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I was like, why didn't I think of this? Realizing I can't steal my mother's fridge and bring it to the camp terrain. It is, and I can't recall exactly how I kept my cool drinks cold or my meat cold, but I survived.
You probably didn't.
But on the other hand, it's a great idea just to make sure you've got the right fridge, and there's a lot more to it than just getting the fridge, and we're going to get into that. So stay tuned and let's dive in.
Take the plunge into outdoor adventures with Outdoor Warehouse and the For Every Adventure podcast.
Calling all adventurers. Live the ultimate outdoor adventure with Outdoor Warehouse, your go-to one-stop destination for top quality outdoor gear and apparel. Save with our March promotions from 14 March to 7 April 2024 on brands including Natural Instincts, First Ascent, National Lunar, Stanley, and so much more. Grab our leaflet in-store or download it online. While stocks last, T's and C's apply. Outdoor Warehouse, for every adventure.
So we've got Cobus Opperman with us today, and he's the sales manager of National Lunar Refrigeration. Welcome, Cobus.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're listening. It's nice to have you here, Cobus, and I am very interested to find out what you have to say when it comes to refrigeration, because on the surface, when you think about refrigeration when going outdoors and when going camping, it's all like, there's probably not much to it. You just get the fridge and you're good to go, but it's not that simple. So I'm looking forward to our conversation. Tell us more about, firstly, National Lunar, because you're from National Lunar Refrigeration. What kind of products do National Lunar specialize in, and how did the company come to be?
Well, National Lunar has been the market leaders in the leisure market for the last 30 years plus. We specialize in manufacturing 12-volt fridges, battery systems, and then obviously lighting as well. We started by making 12-volt lights for the caravan industry.
Okay.
And then at some point, the World Health Organization approached us to make a fridge for medical vaccines.
Okay.
And from there, later on, the need for smaller camping refrigerations came along, and we started making smaller, more compact fridges for the leisure industry.
Wow, that's fantastic. So for the last, how many years have you been into refrigeration?
The company's been going for about 36 years. We've been manufacturing our own fridges for the last 30 years.
Okay, and it's all been done in South Africa,
Yes. Yeah.
local.
Our factory is in Edenvale. We build and produce the fridges there.
Ah, okay.
Great.
How do you go about choosing refrigeration for different types of adventures? And what are your recommendations for a short stay versus a long stay camping trip?
I think refrigeration is important for any trip.
You're right.
You know, whether it's a short stay or a long stay. When you want beers, it's important to keep your beers and your cold drinks and those sort of things cool.
Yes, yeah.
It's not nice having a warm beer, but it's also important to keep your foodstuffs fresh.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And,
Yeah, second most important, but still important.
you know, especially, whether you're camping for a night or 2 nights or going on an overland adventure for a week or 2 weeks, and normally in remote places where you can't just run to the local spa and buy a pack of boerewors.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, sorry now, but what did people do like 50 years ago? Did they
Probably just a cooler box and some ice.
Yeah,
But it's not the same, is it?
No.
It's exactly what they did, but at the end of the weekend, it's not nice having your chops float in melted water in the bottom of the cooler box.
But isn't it wonderful, though, that we have these options? Can you maybe just give me an idea, because I've never really taken a look, okay? So how many different types and sizes do you have? And is it all dependent on what you are planning for your trip?
I think it's dependent on whether you're a young person starting out going camping, on your own. How many people you've got in your group? Is it your wife and yourself and your kids, or is it just you and your girlfriend? That plays a role in the size fridge that you're going to choose.
Like what's the smallest one that you can get?
So the smallest one we do currently is a 20 litre, but then we manufacture right up to 125 litre.
Goodness
so
me,
for
okay.
overlanding companies that take a
Yeah.
lot of people on a safari or a overlanding trip, you need space. So we got 14 fridges in our range.
Okay.
Starting from what that we manufacture ourselves, starting from a 35 litre right up to 125.
Okay, and let's talk about the different types of trips you go on. You've mentioned overlanding. Does the type of fridge you choose have to sort of complement the trip you're going on?
I don't think that it would have to complement the trip. You choose a fridge that would suit your needs.
Okay.
There's a couple of things to consider. Basically, budget is a main thing.
Yes.
Because there's various different types on the market, and some are plastic, some are metal. And then the next thing to choose is the size, obviously. That's important. How much stuff do you want to carry for how long?
Yes.
For me that go on a weekend camp, I might only need a small little fridge. But
Yes.
if you're going to go and do a week in Namibia, Botswana, or Mozambique, wherever you're going to go, you might need more space. And then you also need to look at how much space you've got in the back of your vehicle.
That's the
You obviously can't go and buy your big fridge and stick it in the back of your
No.
VW Golf.
It's not going to work. Well, listen, I'm sure if I try hard enough, it's probably not going to be too practical.
Please no. And then what about the electricity? Is that also a consideration?
Depends on what type of camping or overlanding you want to do. If you're going to go to campsites where there is 220 power available when it's available, because we're in South Africa, then you can run it off 220 volt. But it's important, if you're not going to a campsite where AC is available, that you have a battery system in your vehicle, and you need to be able to run your fridge for a couple of days. You can charge your battery off your car, but if you're going to be stationary for more than 2 days, you probably need to look at something else like solar or some other way of charging your battery while you're not driving.
And then would size also be something you have to keep in mind?
Our fridges are very energy efficient, so
Okay.
so they all use around about the same power. Obviously, the bigger ones will use slightly more power because it's a bigger volume that you're cooling down. But our fridges will, I don't think the size will matter that much when it comes to battery power.
Okay. What fridge do you have, or do you have all of them?
Well, I actually got two.
Yeah.
I've got, and this is a dream setup. So,
All right.
in my trailer, I own a 4x4 trailer. Obviously, I've got a 4x4. So, in the trailer, I run a 72-liter fridge,
Okay.
which is a dual compartment fridge, and that's got I run that fridge as a freezer completely.
Yeah.
But it has the versatility where I can change because it's a dual compartment. I can make one bin a fridge and the other bin a freezer if I
that's
wanted
great.
to do that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But then I have a problem where we are 4 people in the family, and you can never get everything into your fridge, especially if you're going away for a week plus. So I have a second fridge in my vehicle.
What is that fridge for?
Don't laugh.
I'm laughing, sorry.
Well,
In the vehicle, okay.
we call it the beer, the water fridge, but it's
The
actually
happy
the
fridge.
beer fridge.
Yes,
Yeah, it's the
yes.
happy fridge.
Yes.
Okay. It's yours.
It's
actually.
mine, yeah.
The other one's for the rest of them, like whatever.
No, I joke, but we put waters, cold drinks, and obviously beer in there. Because you can't get everything into your fridge, especially if you're staying for a long extended stay. Look, if it's just a weekend travel, then you can.
But there has to be some sort of method to packing the fridge. I've had to pack a lot of vans with sound equipment and stuff, and there is sort of a way you need to do it to make it work optimally. Do you have a few tips when it comes to packing your fridge?
Yeah, I do. Look, all our fridges come with baskets. I personally don't use the baskets because I think you can get more into the fridge by not using the
Playing
baskets.
Tetris into that fridge.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
A lot of people like the baskets because you can plan and pack and you can take a basket out. The way I do it, or my family does it, is we plan our trips ahead of time and we pack the last day's food right at the bottom and the first day's food right at the top.
Oh, that's great.
That eliminates people scratching through the fridge looking for something, trying to find a piece of boerewors.
Yeah.
So by doing it that way, you can maximize the packing space in the fridge, and you don't need to scratch around in it and leave it open for extended periods of time. Because the longer you leave it open, the warmer it's going to get inside, the harder the fridge is going to work and flatten your battery.
It's all about planning.
It's all about
You
planning.
know exactly what you're going to be eating in 8 days' time.
Exactly that.
That's
So
amazing. Okay.
I also freeze the meat in the fridge and not in my home deep freeze, because I find that if I freeze it in the fridge, you can pack a lot. It packs a lot better, and it freezes in that position that the meat's lying in the fridge. So
All right, a few handy tips. What are the finishing of your fridges?
so our fridges are all made of durable stainless steel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
As
then,
easy as that.
I mean, obviously now it's been 30 years, so you've got it all right when it comes to insulation, and you must have upgraded from the time you started off to where you guys are now in terms of that.
So we use a high density polyurethane foam, which is the best on the market. It actually went smaller over time.
Oh, wow.
One of our first fridges, the medical vaccine fridges that I mentioned, that had 100 mils of insulation. And as technology changed over the last 30 years, it became better, and that allowed us to make the insulation thinner. So at the moment we're running at
And also lighter, I suppose, then.
it does make it a little bit lighter,
Okay.
yeah.
So if I'm talking to the listener now, if you jump back a few episodes, quite a few. I think the first episode we did was the camping episode, if I'm correct. The third one, actually, and that was with Cobus Potgieter. But if you listen back, you're going to get the sense that I don't really always know too much about camping, and I've learned a lot, and I hope you as a listener has also sort of gone on this journey and learned a lot about camping and the outdoors. That's why, to me, it's always nice to find out what an expert has to say and the tips that an expert has. So I think let's begin with just a few basic recommendations for beginner campers from you.
Well, with regards to a fridge, a recommendation I would make is buy the right size.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it goes hand in hand with budget, but if you can afford a fridge, if you're going to grow into the camping scene and you want to maybe one day do a 2-week overland trip into Namibia or Botswana, buy the right size fridge from the beginning, because you might end up having to buy a second fridge or a larger fridge, and there's nothing worse than realizing you can't get everything in your fridge, or you can't get enough into your fridge to sustain you for 2 weeks. So, that's something I would do.
So you're saying go big if you can.
Well, yes, obviously within limits, so that it can fit your vehicle. But, that would be the first thing. I would also buy a repeatable brand. Buy something that's going to last, that comes with a warranty. There's a lot of cheap fridges on the market.
Yeah, it's cheap for a reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the reason why a Ferrari is more expensive than a Beetle.
And your warranty, how does that work?
Okay, so we currently have a 3-year warranty on our products. Obviously, we've got an extensive backup group of dealers throughout the country and in Namibia, Botswana. So there's a 3-year warranty with a dealer around the corner that can help you should you have a problem.
Oh, fantastic. And these lessons that you've learned, or these tips you've given, are probably lessons learned. Can you give me an example of where you've learned these lessons? A few memorable stories maybe from a camping trip?
Yeah, look, my best trip was a trip into Mozambique a couple of years ago, where we had no water, no fuel, no power. So you had to take everything with you.
Okay.
And
did you take the happy fridge?
I did take the happy fridge. We actually had 2 fridges on that trip as well. But it was important when you in Mozambique in the middle of January, where the temperatures are sort of 44, 45 degrees daily, So then you suddenly realize how important that fridge is. When you wake up in the morning and 7 o'clock it's 30 degrees, you realize you need a fridge, you need water, cold water, you need food and that sort of thing.
How did you fix the problem? Because you didn't have, like you mentioned, no fridge, no water.
Well, we planned. I think in Cobus's podcast he said planning is important. We took 2 fridges for 4 people to make sure that we got food that can last us for the week.
And then you had battery power for the entire time? Or
We did. On that trip, we did almost run out of battery power after 4 days, but we managed to get through. A battery system is very important if you're going to run a fridge. You have to have a second battery, especially if you're stationary for more than 2 days and you don't have a way to recharge the battery. If the battery fails, you obviously can't run your fridge. So have to have one of those.
Let's chat about the different destinations and maybe scenarios and seasons that would require a fridge versus just take the cooler bag with.
Well, obviously I sell fridges and I want you to take a fridge all the time.
Take the fridge.
Look, I don't think there's a scenario where you can get away without a fridge unless you're only going overnight.
Makes sense.
If you go and camp for extended periods of time and there is no AC available, you have to have a fridge.
Yes.
I've got a friend that still uses dry ice.
Okay.
It's a solution. But
how long does it, because I don't know this, if you have a cooler box full of ice and you go and you're going to spend like a weekend, how long is that ice going to last you? Like how long is it going to keep your food cold?
It depends.
Roundabout.
Look, if you're camping, you generally open your cooler box 3 times a day, maybe more.
If it's the happy cooler box, it's a bit more.
It is a bit more, So every time you open the box, warm air gets in, and that will determine how long your ice is going to last. So if you leave the lid open, the ice might melt quickly, and you might only see 24 hours.
Okay.
If you open and close it all day long, it might not last even 24 hours. So it's crucial to have a fridge.
Yeah, no one wants to struggle like that. So if you can, get one
I agree.
rather.
Definitely. The first thing I'm thinking about is keeping them all cold I think it's the dad kicking
Oh
in.
my goodness. You want to go camping with a baby.
Well, listen,
That's a whole different
for
ball game.
which episode is this? For a few episodes, we've been going, we're going outdoor, we're going camping, and I've got a baby, I can't do it. But now, somewhere along the
Oh,
line,
really?
I'm going to have to get myself a national Luna fridge and keep them all cold. It's
It can
important.
be done.
It can be done. But there's nothing worse than purchasing something and it's not necessarily compatible with the rest of the gear you have. So I think, tell me about the compatibility with most adventure vehicles like Bosvans, caravans, trailers.
So our fridges years ago were designed, before we had fancy 4x4 trailers and that, to fit through the door of a standard caravan. You know, so our 40 litres and our 80 litre fridges could fit through the door of a standard on-road caravan. Today, I think our fridges are sort of standard equipment in a lot of the big brands out there. Again, it comes down to size. I think the 4x4 caravan and trailer manufacturers all prefer around about a 70 or a 90 litre fridge in their campers for 4 people.
So that's like standard size.
Standard size.
And how well should I understand the unit I'm getting? If I'm ever in a situation where I need to troubleshoot, is that going to be a hard process for me?
It shouldn't be. Our fridges all have a little light that indicates if there is a fault. You know, a common fault that we're experiencing is a 12-volt issue, you know, where the wiring is not sufficient or the battery is flat. The fridges are fairly easy to operate. We call them idiot-proof.
Fantastic. Kyle-proof, like it.
Kyle-proof, yeah. So it's not a difficult machine to operate. I mean, there's very little that can go wrong with it.
Yeah,
So
that's good. All right, and a few features, a few accessories I can get for the fridge.
So are there like any add-ons that you can sort of make it
there's
even
lots of
better?
add-ons. But,
Okay.
in terms of features, all our fridges have Bluetooth on them now. So
Why? Probably just to be able to do a few settings from the phone, something like that.
exactly that.
Right.
But I'll give you a scenario. So we were talking about a Boswa. If you've got your fridge in the trailer or the camper and you want to know what's happening with it, is it set or have I set it to the right temperature? It's easy to go on your phone and quickly connect to it and see what the temperature is. You can also change the temperature, you know, during
That's
your
nifty.
This is what we need to do.
You can lie in your tent and like, I'm just going to check the fridge on my phone.
More than that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this out of the podcast so no one takes our idea. We are going to get a fridge and put speakers on it and make it a Bluetooth speaker fridge. Please tell me that doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Come on, that's such a great idea for a camp terrain.
You want a boombox.
I'm getting a few nods, a few no's, but
So you're going to be the noisy neighbor that we don't want to camp next to.
Is that rock and roller?
yeah, depends where. We'll adapt to the circumstances, to the scenario.
Cobus, are you like a camper? Did you always camp? Is it your thing, or did it come with sort of the work you started doing?
No, I think I've always liked the outdoors.
Okay.
I love the Kruger National Park. I love any national park or any park for that matter. And then I think camping in the bush, there's nothing else like it. If you give me a choice, a sea holiday or a bush holiday, I think a bush holiday would always be my first choice.
Why is that? Why is that? Just a preference, huh?
I don't like being cold. I mean, I enjoy being outdoor. I like being in the open, clean air.
Yeah.
You know, and if you work in the cities, you appreciate early morning sunrises with a cup of coffee and you know, late night sunsets with a fire going and a cold beer.
Yes.
You know, that's why I like it. I like nature. You know, I like animals.
And the bush versus the beach. Is the bush maybe just something that's a bit more nostalgic for you, or?
Don't get me wrong. A sea holiday is nice, but it's not as nice as a bush holiday.
Okay, just a preference.
Yeah, just to unwind. It's my choice.
And this love for the outdoors always been with you? Can you point to a specific moment in your life where you went, all right, this is for me?
I think we started camping at a young age, you know, camp in a tent, and I think that's where the love started. Where you're out in the bush, you I think for me, my favorite experience was when we had no electricity, no clean water, and that was before the Mozambique trip, where if you wanted to cook something, you had to make a fire.
Yes.
If you wanted to have a hot shower, we had a donkey in the campsite that we stayed at, and you had to make a fire to heat the water. And it was normally the guy's duty to start the fire early in the morning. And I think just something about that, was what excited me, and what
just got you hooked to it.
It's very nice. I enjoy that.
And then in time, did you also find that you sort of brought all the luxuries in? Not all of them, but
like the glamping again.
Just to I'm just asking, because it's always interesting. For everyone talks about that struggle, actually, that they enjoyed so much. But then in time, you sort of go, I've done that now, so I can get this little bit of luxury and this nifty gadget to, make life a little easier while out there.
Well, I'll tell you a story. If it was up to my wife, we would have a microwave in the trailer and we would have an electric kettle and that sort of thing. So I have a stainless steel kettle, and to make hot water in the morning, I got to make a fire and put the kettle into the fire.
Something about that.
But
it's nice.
I try and keep it. I try and keep it as simple as possible, because I think you can drag a lot of stuff with you that you're going to end up never using. Although I say that, my wife thinks that the kitchen in the trailer is better than the kitchen at home, in terms of knives and forks and that sort of thing. But I try and keep, when I go luxury, I would say my fridge is my luxury. Anything else is just over the
unnecessary,
top.
actually. And in terms of places, you mentioned the Kruger National Park. Where's your favorite place to go, even if it's just for a weekend to go camping?
So we do Pilanesberg because it's close to Johannesburg, and it's easy to just hook the trailer up on a Friday afternoon and go there for the weekend. So we do that a few times during the year, not as often as we would like, but that's what we do. We obviously bought the trailer with the idea of going into Namibia and Botswana and that sort of thing, which we haven't gotten there yet, but maybe one day soon we'll do that.
For every adventure, where we explore all the best in outdoor adventures.
Discover the ultimate outdoor adventure at Outdoor Warehouse, your go-to one-stop destination for top quality outdoor gear and apparel. Become a rewards member today and receive exclusive member-only savings on top brands, access to new product launches, and automatic competition entries. Sign up at one of our 37 stores nationwide or online and let the adventure begin. Outdoor Warehouse. For every adventure.
So we've spoken about the fridges, we've shared a few stories, but let's get into detail. Specifically, you who are listening, looking for that camping fridge, what your options are.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we manufacture a range of fridges starting from a 35 litre going right up to 125 litre. We also do them in a single compartment fridge and then in a dual compartment fridge. So the ladies all love the dual compartment fridges.
Okay.
For the simple reason that you can run one bin as a fridge and the other bin as a freezer. It makes the fridge a lot more versatile. You can also run that same fridge as a complete fridge or as a complete freezer.
Okay.
Which makes it really nice and universal.
Definitely.
We've also developed the 35, the 45 and the 70 litre as a low profile fridge, to get that fridge into places where you don't normally can with a normal fridge, So for your first-time campers or your newbies, as we call them, that's starting out, that don't necessarily own a 4x4. He's got a sedan vehicle or a hatchback vehicle. A 35 or 45 can fit in the back of those vehicles. And it's also a nice, small, compact fridge for a weekend camper.
Okay. And for a more experienced camper?
The more experienced campers seem to like the bigger fridges. So anything from a 50 litre upwards. So a 50 litre or a 60 litre or a 90 litre. These are all dual compartment fridges, by the way. We also have fridges with the same footprint, but in a single
Oh,
compartment.
I see. I understand. So I want to know, what's the top of the range one, like the one everyone aspires to?
I think the one that everybody aspires to at the moment would be the 90 litre.
Okay.
Because it's a nice outside size. It fits most campers, 4x4s and that sort of thing. It's a dual compartment fridge. It's also our most popular fridge
Okay.
on the market.
It's just called the Legacy Smart one.
That's the Legacy Smart. That's
And this
the
is
latest.
your latest, like, new range.
That's the one with the Bluetooth, yes.
Oh, okay. The smart one.
The smart one.
And a few power solutions for these fridges.
So we manufacture our own dual battery systems. We also have a DC to DC system.
Okay.
I think that's a whole other podcast. But just a quick overview. As I mentioned, you need to charge your battery to be able to run your fridge and all your other auxiliary equipment.
Yeah.
So we have something that would fit almost every need. So starting at the bottom end of the market, very simple system, right up to a very complicated 40 amp, not complicated, but advanced DC to DC system that will work with modern vehicles.
Yeah, luckily, the people in Outdoor Warehouse
Yes, I
can
was
tell you
just
exactly what you
thinking.
need to know.
It's great that you have that in-store knowledge. It's so important.
Definitely.
And also with making these decisions. I mean, I can see now that when it comes to the fridges, they basically, like, they look the same.
Yeah, they do.
They all got this. It's not like you're going to go and pick a color.
No.
So it's about the features.
And the accessories, the add-ons. Tell me about that, Cobus.
Okay, so there's a few nice to haves to protect your very expensive investment. There's jackets available to cover your fridge, and that just protects it from your day-to-day bumps and bruises, scratches.
I see. That's very good.
You're going to get everything from Outdoor Warehouse, also outdoorwarehouse.co.za. The experts are there to help you if you have any questions. And there you go. No more excuses. Keep the happy fridge happy. Thanks, Cobus. We appreciate it. Thanks for all the knowledge. And we look forward to chatting to you maybe again sometime soon. When I have any questions about my first camping fridge, I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's been great advice. Thanks, Cobus.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you learned a lot today. I hope you learned something from every episode. We've got a bunch of them. Check it out on Spotify. Check it out on Apple. And we'll see you soon. Don't miss the next one for Every Adventure, proudly brought to you by Outdoor Warehouse.
Stay in the loop on the best outdoor adventures on the For Every Adventure podcast with Outdoor Warehouse.